The SEAL captain's voice thundered across the room. "Any combat pilots?" No one moved. No one breathed. Then she rose quietly, almost invisible, until every eye locked on her. A broken watch on her wrist, a past she never spoke of, and the mission that would test every scar she carried. What happened next left even battle-hardened warriors in stunned silence. The conference room smelled of dust, coffee, and nerves. Maps lay scattered across the table, corners curling under the hum of ceiling fans. The SEAL captain, tall and carved from years of war, stood at the head. His eyes scanned the faces. Any combat pilots? His voice cracked through the silence. Chairs shifted. Men looked sideways, waiting for someone else to step forward. No one moved. Emma sat near the back, her boots pressed against the cold concrete floor. She carried nothing but a small notebook, a pen, and the broken watch on her wrist. The watch had stopped years ago during a storm she never forgot. Its frozen hands pointed always to 2:14, a reminder, a warning. The captain's gaze passed over her as if she were just another observer. That suited her. She liked being unseen, but when the silence stretched too long, she pushed her chair back. The sound echoed. Heads turned, Emma rose quietly. No speech, no explanations. Just a steady glance at the captain. The room stirred. Some smirked. Others frowned. A few narrowed their eyes, unsure if they should laugh or listen. The captain's jaw tightened. "Name?" "Emma," she said simply. The name hung there, bare and fragile against the weight of the room. He studied her. "And you believe you can fly this mission?" Her hand brushed the broken watch. "I don't believe." "I know." A murmur rippled across the room. Confidence wasn't rare here, but hers sounded different. Quieter, more dangerous. The captain slammed a folder onto the table. Maps spilled open, showing a compound buried in the folds of a mountain range. "Then prove it," he growled. Emma leaned forward, eyes sharp. The maps looked like puzzles she had solved 100 times before. Valleys, narrow air corridors, enemy nests stitched into the cliffs. She traced a finger over one jagged line. "You'll never get a convoy through here." But a single jet, fast, low, unseen, could. The room fell silent again. Not disbelief this time, something closer to unease. "Tomorrow night," the captain said. "We launch," Emma nodded once. She sat back down. The broken watch pressed against her skin. She thought of the empty wallet in her locker, the one that carried nothing but a photo. She hadn't looked at it in months. Couldn't, but tonight she would, because tomorrow she might not return. The captain ended the briefing. Men shuffled out, voices low. Emma stayed behind, staring at the maps, tracing the valleys with her finger again and again, as if memorizing the veins of her own hand. Outside, the airfield roared with engines and distant thunder. A dusty road stretched beyond the fences, vanishing into the dark horizon. Emma knew that road well. She had walked it once, long ago, when leaving everything behind. Now it waited again. Her watch ticked silently, though its hands never moved, and she whispered to herself, "This time." "I won't break." The door slammed open. A shadow fell across the table. It wasn't the captain. It was a man she thought she'd never see again. His voice low, steady, and meant only for her. "You don't belong here, Emma. Walk away while you can." Emma froze. The voice belonged to Captain Hale, a man whose reputation ran through the halls like a cold draft. He had flown missions no one dared talk about. He had lost men, too many, and once, years ago, he had trained her. Now he stood in the doorway, his face carved with old battles, his eyes drilling into hers. "You don't belong here," he repeated. The SEAL captain looked up, irritation flashing. "Hale, not your call." But Hale ignored him. He stepped closer, his boots striking the floor like hammers. "Emma, you're not ready for this mountain. That compound eats pilots alive." Emma didn't flinch. Her fingers pressed against the broken watch. "Then maybe it's time someone taught the mountain to choke." A few men chuckled. Nervous laughter, thin as glass. Hale's eyes narrowed. "Still the same fire. But fire burns itself out fast up there." The SEAL captain slammed his fist on the table. "Enough, she's in. The mission stands. Hale, if you've got a problem, take it outside." Hale stared at Emma one last time. Then he left, the door snapping shut behind him. Silence lingered, heavy as smoke. Emma gathered her notes and left the room. Outside, the night pressed close. Engines hummed in the hangars. Shadows stretched along the dusty road. She walked toward her quarters. The wind carried sand against her face, sharp and dry. She pulled the empty wallet from her pocket, flicked it open. The photo inside showed a boy, 10 years old, laughing by a river, his name etched in her bones. Daniel, her son. She closed the wallet quickly, breath unsteady. She had left him years ago with her sister, promising she would come back. But every mission stretched the promise thinner. Every flight made the river more distant. Emma slid the wallet back into her pocket. The broken watch ticked in silence, frozen at 2:14. That was the minute the storm had hit, the day everything changed. The day she had sworn never to fail again. The next morning, she ran drills alone on the airstrip. Low passes, tight rolls, skimming the valley edges. Ground crews watched, shaking their heads. Too risky, they whispered. Too reckless. But her jet answered her like it had a soul bound to hers. By dusk, the SEAL team arrived. Heavy gear, faces carved from stone. Captain Thompson, tall and quiet, nodded at her. "We move at 2200, you sure about this?" Emma checked her watch. The hands never moved, but she still looked at it before every mission. "I've been sure for years." Thompson studied her a moment longer, then said nothing. Night dropped like a curtain. The sky bled stars. Emma strapped into her cockpit. The empty wallet pressed against her chest under the vest. The photo inside felt heavier than steel. "Overwatch," Thompson's voice crackled in her headset. "We're on the move." Emma's jet roared to life. She guided it down the runway, the wheels lifting off like a secret leaving the earth. The mountain range rose ahead, sharp as broken teeth. She pushed lower into the valleys where shadows swallowed light. Her breath steadied. Her hands didn't shake. "Overwatch," Thompson whispered. "Eyes up. We're close." Emma adjusted her scope. The compound came into view. Iron walls hidden in stone, fire pits glowing like eyes, then sudden light. A missile streaked past her wing. "Contact!" She shouted. The radio crackled with overlapping voices. The night exploded around her. The missile tore through the night sky, screaming past Emma's jet by inches. The blast shook her cockpit, alarms blaring. She gritted her teeth, jerking the stick left, hugging the cliff wall so tight the paint nearly scraped rock. "Overwatch report!" Thompson's voice cut sharp. "I'm still here," she growled, eyes scanning the ridges. Heat signatures flared across her screen. Too many. They were waiting. Her heart slammed, but her hands stayed steady. Another missile launched from the ridge, trailing white smoke against the black. She dove, the mountain swallowing her whole. The watch on her wrist dug into her skin, cold, immovable. "Multiple anti-air nests," she barked. "Hold your position. Do not move until I clear them." "Copy," Thompson answered, his tone clipped but calm. Emma pulled low, racing through the valley at 300 knots. Shadows chased her wings. The compound loomed ahead, its walls spewing gunfire like sparks from a furnace. She locked onto the first nest, squeezed the trigger. The missile launched, carving a path of light before striking the ridge. Fire bloomed, the echo rolling down the canyon. "One down," she muttered, but 5 more lit up. "Overwatch, we're pinned," Thompson hissed. "They know we're here." Emma's teeth clenched. "Then let's remind them who owns the sky." She dove again, weaving between jagged cliffs. Tracers streaked past her canopy, flashing like fireflies from hell. She rolled, cut speed, and fired the cannons. Metal spat from her jet, shredding the second nest. "Two down," she called. Her chest heaved. The wallet under her vest felt like a stone against her ribs. Daniel's laugh echoed in her mind, steadying her grip. The third nest fired. She yanked her jet sideways, feeling gravity tear at her bones. The missile missed, but only just. Her targeting screen flickered. Warning lights screamed. Fuel dropping faster than planned. "Emma, pull back," a voice barked over the command channel. It wasn't Thompson. It was Hale. "You'll burn out before the team even gets in." She ignored him. 3 down. She cut low again, slicing through air that felt thinner than paper. Her watch pressed hard against her wrist. She thought of the dusty road, stretching endless under her boots years ago. Walking away, broke, empty, but unbroken. She hadn't come this far to stop. The fourth nest locked onto her. She fired first. Explosion ripped through the valley, lighting the cliffs like dawn. 4 down. Her breath came hard now, her chest burning. The alarms shrieked louder. She whispered Daniel's name once, a prayer or a promise. 2 more, she muttered. Just 2. She climbed steep, rolled, and dove hard at the 5th nest. The jet bucked under the force. She fired, and the target vanished in flame. 5 down. But the 6th wasn't on her screen. It wasn't anywhere. Then it lit, right below her, hidden in shadow. The missile launched straight up. Emma yanked back on the stick, too late. The cockpit filled with fire. Flame roared across Emma's canopy. Warnings blared. Her jet spun, tumbling sideways, the ground rushing up. She fought the stick, muscles straining. "Overwatch status," Thompson's voice barked. "I'm hit," she gasped, trying to stabilize. The broken watch dug into her wrist as the jet shook violently. Smoke filled the cockpit. Her lungs burned, she cut power, slammed emergency controls. The jet screamed, metal tearing against itself. For a second, everything blurred. The empty wallet pressed against her chest, Daniel's face in her mind, the dusty road stretching before her. She had walked it once, leaving him behind. Would she walk it again? "Eject!" Hale's voice thundered over the radio. "Now, Emma." Her hand hovered over the lever, but then she saw it. The compound below, lit by gunfire, the SEAL team crawling through shadows. They were still alive, still fighting. If she bailed now, the mission would die. "No," she whispered. She slammed the stick forward, forcing the jet nose down, fire trailing her like a comet. The sixth nest glowed ahead. She had one missile left. "One chance, Emma, don't." Hale's voice cracked. She didn't listen. She lined the target, fingers trembling, vision blurred by smoke. She fired. The missile launched, impact. The nest exploded, fire pouring down the cliff. She pulled the stick hard, too hard. The jet screamed. Metal groaned. Then, silence. The engine died. Gravity took her. She slammed the eject lever. The canopy burst. Wind tore her free, the sky swallowing her whole. Her parachute yanked open. She dangled over the burning valley, her jet a fireball below. "Overwatch, do you copy?" Thompson's voice desperate now. Emma spat blood, coughing into the mic. "Still here," the chute swayed. She drifted lower, closer to the compound. Gunfire rattled around her. She pulled cord, steering, aiming for a shadowed ridge. She hit hard. Rolled. Stones cut her hands. Pain flared through her side. But she was alive. The broken watch cracked further, its glass shattering against the rock. Emma staggered up. She pulled her sidearm, scanned the cliffs. Shadows moved. Voices shouted in a tongue she didn't know but understood well enough. Enemy patrols. She pressed against the rock, breathing shallow. Her radio hissed. "Thompson, Emma, can you move?" She looked at her bleeding hand. At the broken watch hanging loose. At the wallet digging into her chest. "Yes," she whispered. She limped forward, deeper into the dark. Then she froze. Ahead on the ridge, a figure stood waiting. Rifle slung, face hidden under the moonlight, but the voice was unmistakable. "I told you, Emma," Hale said, stepping from the shadows. "You don't belong here." The night pressed tight, the air thin with dust and smoke. Hale stood on the ridge, weapon low but ready. His eyes glinted in the moonlight, cold as the steel he carried. Emma's hand gripped her sidearm, though her arm shook from the fall. "You followed me," she said. "I saved you," Hale answered flatly. "If I hadn't forced the clearance on that chute, you'd be ash with your jet." Her chest burned with anger. "You don't get to claim my life." He stepped closer, boots grinding stone. "Emma, listen. This mission is suicide. Thompson doesn't know it yet. But the compound has more inside than you can imagine. They'll all die if you push further." Her broken watch hung loose, the shattered face glinting in the starlight. She touched it, steadying herself. "Then I'll die with them." Hale shook his head slowly. "That's not courage. That's madness." Voices echoed in the canyon, enemy soldiers moving fast. Time slipping away. Emma glanced down the slope. The SEAL team's tracer fire lit the valley. Thompson's voice cut through the radio. "Overwatch, we need support on the ground. Move now." She looked back at Hale. "You coming with me or stopping me?" He hesitated. His jaw clenched. Then, finally, he lowered his rifle. "Fine. But when this mountain buries us, remember I tried to stop it." Emma limped forward, Hale falling into step beside her. Their silence carried years of unspoken history. Missions gone wrong, nights filled with arguments. The storm that froze her watch at 2:14. They crept down the slope, moving through shadows. Enemy patrols passed above, their flashlights sweeping. Emma's chest tightened with each breath, but she pushed on. At the base, they reached a ridge overlooking the compound. Fires burned inside the walls. Thompson's team was pinned, pressed against stone with nowhere to run. Emma gripped her sidearm tighter. Her empty wallet dug into her ribs, the photo inside like a weight. Daniel's face flashed in her mind. She whispered his name once, like a vow. Hale pointed. They'll be overrun in minutes. Not if we cut through here. Emma nodded to a narrow path leading around the ridge. They moved fast and low. The path crumbled under their boots, sending pebbles rattling down. A guard's light swung their way. Emma froze. Hale raised his rifle. Too slow, Emma fired first. The guard dropped, his flashlight spinning into the dirt. Silence shattered. Shouts erupted from below. They know we're here, Hale hissed. Emma's chest heaved. Her broken watch glittered under the moon, frozen hands pointing always to 2:14. Then let's end it before they find us, she said. They sprinted down the path, gunfire erupting from the compound. Emma's heart hammered, the dusty road of her past echoing in her mind. She had walked away once. She would not walk away again. They slid into the shadows beside the compound wall. The SEAL's gunfire cracked from the far side. Thompson's voice barked through the radio. Overwatch, if you've got anything left, now's the time. Emma pressed her back to the stone, breath ragged. Hale leaned close, whispering, One more step, Emma, and there's no way out. She looked at him, eyes burning. There never was. She pulled a grenade from her vest. Pulled the pin. Then she kicked the side door of the compound open. Light and fire swallowed the night. The grenade burst. The side door blew inward with a roar of flame. Emma and Hale dove through smoke, the air ripping with shouts and gunfire. The compound pulsed with chaos, fighters scrambling, walls rattling under the blast. Thompson's SEALs surged forward, seizing the moment. Emma staggered upright, coughing hard. Her ribs burned. The broken watch on her wrist dangled loose, its cracked face catching firelight. Time frozen. But her pulse thundered alive. Clear left, Hale shouted, firing sharp bursts. Emma swept right, her sidearm spitting sparks. Shadows fell one after another. She pressed forward, boots crunching over stone. The empty wallet dug against her chest, heavier than her weapon. She could almost feel the photo inside burning against her skin. Thompson's voice cut through the smoke. Emma, Hale, get to the command room. Intel's in there. She nodded once, though he couldn't see her. Hale jerked his head. Move, they sprinted deeper. Hallways twisted like veins through the rock. Enemy fighters poured from side doors, desperate, reckless. Bullets sparked off stone. Emma fired, reloaded, fired again. Her arms shook, but her aim held true. At the end of the hall stood a steel door, chained and locked. Behind it, Answers, Hale raised a charge. Cover me! Emma fired down the corridor, forcing enemies back. The explosion tore the steel apart, smoke coughing into the room. They rushed inside. Tables stacked with maps, radios buzzing, laptops glowing in dim light. Plans for attacks sprawled across the desks, arrows carving paths across borders. Hale began sweeping papers into a bag. This is it, everything Command wanted. But Emma stood still, staring at the wall. Photos pinned there, faces circled in red, her throat tightened. Among them was Daniel, her son, marked. She stumbled forward, the room tilting. Hale turned, saw her frozen, and followed her eyes. His face hardened. Emma, we don't have time. Her hands shook. She reached for the photo, tearing it from the wall. Daniel's smile stared back, innocent, unaware. The empty wallet waited open. She slid the photo inside, pressing it flat. Now the wallet wasn't empty anymore. Gunfire erupted outside. Voices shouted, boots pounding closer. Move! Hale barked. They sprinted out, dragging the intel. Thompson's team converged, covering their retreat. The compound shook with explosions, flames chasing them down the hall. They burst into the night. The valley glowed with fire. Enemy reinforcements swarmed the ridges. Too many, we're cut off. A SEAL yelled. Emma's eyes lifted to the sky. Smoke, stars, silence above the roar. Her jet was gone. But another aircraft sat hidden on the lower strip. An old transport plane the enemy had seized. Her heart pounded. The broken watch pressed cold against her skin. She pointed. That plane. It can fly, Thompson stared. It's suicide. That thing's a coffin. Emma stepped forward, firelight in her eyes. So was I, but I'm still here. The team hesitated. Then Hale spoke, voice low. If she says it flies, it flies. They cut through the last line of fighters, Emma leading, bullets sparking at her heels. They crashed onto the strip, storming the transport. Emma shoved into the cockpit, wires torn, panels cracked. She slammed switches. Nothing. Her breath hitched. She closed her eyes, fingers brushing the broken watch. She thought of Daniel, of the dusty road she had walked, of every time she had chosen not to quit. "Come on," she whispered. "Breathe." The engine coughed, sputtered, then roared. "Move," she shouted. The SEALs piled in, throwing gear and intel aboard. Hale slammed the hatch shut. Thompson dropped into the co-pilot's seat, eyes locked on her. "Take us home, Emma." She pushed the throttle. The plane shuddered, wheels grinding against the dirt. Enemy fire streaked the night, bullets cracking across the fuselage. The strip narrowed, cliffs racing toward them. Come on," the wheels lifted. The plane clawed skyward, engine screaming. Bullets faded below. Fire swallowed the compound.